Coming up on NCC News, a look at a woman who has just made history, why American Airlines are under investigation, and how one fraternity is more of a brotherhood than just a campus organization. These stories and more coming up after the break. I'm Isabel Surpine.
And I'm Christopher Grisotomo.
In our top story, the migrant crisis in Europe is getting worse. Tensions reached a boiling point when Hungary shut down its border with Serbia. Meanwhile, protesters are calling on the U.S. to do more to help the refugees. Jeremy Roth has the latest.
Chaos erupts on the Serbia-Hungary border as Hungarian riot police use tear gas and water cannons to keep migrants from entering their country. The conflict comes one day after Hungary closed off its border, leaving crowds of refugees stranded on the other side.
This is not acceptable, and this is against the European rules we do have. Therefore, it is very important that we really stick to the respect what human dignity and human rights are concerned.
The European Union is struggling to deal with hundreds of thousands of people fleeing war-torn regions. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is calling for another emergency meeting next week after Monday's session failed to yield a final plan.
Please help the Syrian people. They need your help.
Closer to home, about a dozen protesters gathered in front of the White House today to call on President Barack Obama to do more.
America accepted Vietnamese refugees in the order of 350,000. Almost 1 million Cubans, another 300,000 Soviet Jews in the past. And so to suggest that we're only going to take 10,000 Syrians is really an injustice to these refugees.
I'm Jeremy Roth reporting.
One person had more reason to celebrate than anyone else, Australian jockey Michelle Payne. She wrote into history books, beating 100-to-1 odds to become the first woman ever to win a $6.2 million cup, all while blasting what she calls chauvinism in sport. CNN World's Christina McFarland looks at how she took the lead.
It's known as the race that stops a nation. But this year, one rider made the world sit up and take notice. Competing against some of the greatest horses and riders in one of the richest races in the world, Michelle Payne pushed ahead of the field riding the 100-to-1 shot Prince of Penzance to cross the line as the first female jockey to win the race in its 155-year history. Afterwards, Payne praised her trainer Darren Weir for standing by her when others questioned her ability to compete in a male-dominated sport.
Can't believe we've done it, and to think that Darren Weir's given me a go when it's such a chauvinistic sport. I know some of the owners were keen to kick me off, for instance. John Richards and Darren stuck really solid with me. I put in all the effort I could. I galloped him every gallop he had and did everything I could to stay on him because I thought he had what it takes to run a race in the Melbourne Cup, and I just can't say how grateful I am to them, and just want to say to everyone else can get stuff because they think women aren't strong enough, but we just beat the world.
Payne is only the fourth female jockey to compete at the Melbourne Cup since 2007, and her words have ignited a debate over whether the racing industry is doing enough to encourage female participation.
Michelle Payne has obviously dealt with, given her comments today, elements of chauvinism and even getting the ride on this horse to win. There were obviously people that were fighting other corners. But with performances like Michelle's today, with Hayley's achievements throughout her career, with the girls winning the Shergar Cup, Rosina Pravric winning Breeders' Cup races, I think that if there are still blocks of institutional chauvinism that do exist in our sport, then with each of these performances, hopefully the barriers are being knocked down, and rightly so.
Australia's greatest race is easily the biggest win of Payne's career, who has risen through the racing ranks since childhood and is now widely regarded as one of the best and toughest riders in her state of Victoria in Australia. At the age of 30, she's carved out a solid career. The youngest of 10 children, she won her first race at the age of 15 on a horse trained by her father. In 2004, she fell heavily during a race in Melbourne, fracturing her skull and bruising her brain. Her breakthrough year came with a win in the Group 1 race, the Toorak Handicap, and in the same year she took part in the Melbourne Cup for the first time, finishing 16th in a field of 23. Almost 100 years to the day that the first female owner won the Melbourne Cup, Payne's historic breakthrough has served as a timely reminder that women can and will compete on a level playing field with the best in the world. Christina McFarlane for CNN's Winning Post.
We know that sea levels around the world are rising, and current thinking believes it's due to climate change, thus causing places like Antarctica to lose its ice. But one recent study by NASA scientists say that may not be the case. Antarctica is big, roughly the size of the US and Mexico combined.
And nearly all scientists agree
ice?
that ice is being lost from the western part of Antarctica and along its peninsula. On the eastern side, ice is actually being gained.
What's behind the addition of ice? It's simply snowfall that started to become heavier around 10,000 years ago. Scientists know this by looking into ice core data. But why is this so important?
It would mean that Antarctica is not contributing to sea level rise.
We're already observing the effects of sea level rise in places like Miami, where routine high tides are inundating parts of the city which never saw water before. In the next 20 to 30 years, the increasing rate of loss in western Antarctica could outpace the gain in eastern Antarctica. The bottom line, there's still a lot we need to learn about how Antarctica is reacting to climate change.
One of the nation's top airlines tells CNN that it made a big blunder recently. An Airbus jet taking off from Los Angeles International Airport realized mid-flight they were not certified to fly over the Pacific waters. Renee Marsh investigates.
Tonight, American Airlines is struggling to explain a major mistake. Flight 31, filled with passengers and crew, flew from Los Angeles to Hawaii without the proper equipment needed for a long-haul trip over the Pacific Ocean. Now CNN has learned a federal investigation is underway.
What it shows is a sloppy procedure on a very important safety issue.
The FAA mandates planes flying routes where there's no place to land in case of an emergency must have additional fire suppression equipment in the cargo area and extra medical equipment like oxygen in the cabin. Flight 31 didn't have the extra equipment. Maintenance crews are required to sign off on a checklist of critical items that need to be on board before a plane takes off.
The chance that a plane goes down over ocean or over the polar ice cap is a very serious event. And they have numerous checks and balances. They say the last of which is their dispatch system. How did it get through the dispatch system without being red flagged is the real question.
The airline didn't realize the error until the flight was already in the air. American alerted the FAA and the decision was made to let the flight continue across the Pacific. American admits the mistake, but insists the Airbus 321S, quote, flies over water regularly for many missions, end quote. Experts agree the aircraft itself was capable of making the flight, but warn that had there been a mid-air emergency over the Pacific with no place to divert, the consequences could have been disastrous.
Should the unusual occur, if there was a fire in the cargo hold of the aircraft, then the extra level of protection that's required for these kinds of flights would not have been available, and there would have been a problem.
Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis has received an award at a conservative gathering in Washington. She got a big applause before she was given a cost of disciplineship. award at the Values Voter Summit. Davis refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples, despite a Supreme Court ruling that legalized same-sex marriage. She later spent 6 days in jail for contempt of court, but Davis said she learned something in that process.
Men and women of integrity, few in number but deep in character, have pursued justice at great personal cost. Whether it was Abraham Lincoln asserting the constitutionally unsettled nature of the Dred Scott decision.
I have discovered through all of this that His grace is truly sufficient in all things. I am only one, but we are many. Thank you all so very much.
A Quinnipiac University fraternity is showing that they know the meaning of brotherhood. When one of their members couldn't participate in a campus tradition, the rest of the fraternity carried him through it. Laura Roberts has her story.
If you follow this trail to the top of Sleeping Giant, you'll see a beautiful view of Quinnipiac University. But one student's journey to the top was a little bit more difficult and required dozens of his friends. Just a few feet off campus, most Quinnipiac students will tell you Sleeping Giant is part of their college experience.
One of the first things everyone does whenever they get to Quinnipiac is hike the Giant.
It's an experience junior Joey Mullaney thought he wouldn't have. He has a rare neuromuscular disorder called Friedreich's ataxia and is confined to a wheelchair.
And I would see like my freshman friends go up there and hike it together and not be able to go and act like I didn't care, but I mean, I cared.
His brothers in the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity cared too, so they decided to do something about it. Last spring, they told Joey they were going out to breakfast, but instead they drove to the mountain.
And all the brothers just surrounded the car.
Because Joey couldn't climb the trail himself, his brothers literally carried him.
We just took them one by one on our backs up the mountain,
taking turns as they climbed.
While we're going up, you kind of have to take a step back and look around and be like, well, this is something really cool that we're doing.
Until they reached the top.
Let's go! Let's go! Take it all in, take the view in. It's unreal up there. Just took in who was with me. And just being up there and, I don't know, it's just something I'll never forget.
The Brotherhood is sharing their experience now because they have a new mountain to climb, finding a cure for Friedreich's ataxia. The first step is raising awareness.
It's been an incredible experience, and I know it means the world to him, and it means the world to our Brotherhood to see everyone supporting us.
For the second time this year, they're hosting a 10-mile bike race starting on Quinnipiac's campus. Last year, they raised $30,000 for research, leading to treatments and a cure.
With the help of this and events like this, hopefully one day I'll be able to run up that mountain.
For more information on the race and how you can donate, visit our website, foxct.com. Reporting in Hamden, Laura Roberts, Fox, Connecticut.
It's that time of year again, pumpkin spice lattes and hanging out by the fire. While most are enjoying the indoors as the weather cools, Cub Scout Pack 135 took it outside to support their community during the annual Rake and Bake event.
This is Rob Janowski from Cub Scout Pack 135 here at our 7th time that we're doing the 16th annual Rake and Bake here in Brookfield.
So basically every year we come out here, we grab our rakes and some tarps, and we help out people who really don't have the ability to take care of their yards. We're helping out Helen today, and Helen's husband unfortunately passed away, and she has no one to help her out. So she makes us a pie, and we help clean up her yard.
So this is a great opportunity for the Cub Scouts, to get out there and to volunteer with the community, to learn what it means about helping others, which is an important part of being a Cub Scout. And working their way towards the Boy Scouts. They had a great morning this morning, being out here and raking and using power equipment and learning how to use power equipment to get the job done. So it was a great morning.
This isn't all the boys have been up to. In September, they kicked off the season with a bonfire, taking their Cub Scout oath, following a special fundraiser dedicated to moms.
Sundance. It gives us a chance to spend some one-on-one time, not only with us, but with each other, and gives us a break from cooking. So, and we did it! So, what's not to love? That's what people say.
So the Mother Sundance is a community fundraiser that we do to raise money for our pack, and it's a great way for the boys to show their mothers how much we mean to them.
When we come back, how to get the perfect job to notice you.
And why TV and film students may be disappointed.
Stay tuned.
What college are you going to?
I don't know.
What do you want to be?
I don't know. My parents want me to be an architect.
Architect?
Yeah, but it's my future. I want to do something that turns me on.
What turns you on?
I don't know.
We know NCC has a Student Success Center where counselors assist every student in creating a future.
You'd make a cute pirate.
I don't know.
We know. Be who you want to be. Create your future at NCC.
With an increasingly difficult job market, it's important students put their best foot forward.
The Career and Development Center made sure you have what it takes to reach your goals. North Community College held an event called Resumania to get you noticed.
Resumania, as the name sounds, we wanted to make it look funky to students to understand that resume is your first step in the direction of finding a job.
I came to Resumania mainly because I was looking for a job, struggling, and I didn't know how to create a proper resume.
Most of our students transfer out to a four-year program. They have to start thinking like a four-year student. And when you're in that program, internships do add a lot of value to get your foot in the door to your final job. That could be your key. And to get through an internship, you need to have a resume in place. So why don't you start thinking now?
When I came in, there was a lot of students coming in as well. And I think everyone that came out had, you know, something changed, or everyone seemed satisfied with the feedback they received.
I felt like it was very helpful. You know, the result of it, I got a job.
The college's annual club fair was held this semester. Students from clubs and organizations on campus set up tables to talk to new and current students about clubs and organizations on campus and why some can help you get ahead.
PTK is an honor society, and really what it means is if you join PTK, it means that you have a grade point average of 3.5 or above, so you're a really good student, and you get the best scholarships because colleges want to offer you scholarships to come to their school because they know that you do well, they know that you care about your work, and that you're committed to finishing and work. So that's a very big plus, very big incentive to award you scholarship money.
My name is Raul Camino. I'm the Features and Opinions editor for the Voice student newspaper, and I'm here manning our table for the club fair. We're here kind of for people. We have a bunch of stuff set up here. We have old bag issues for the paper, as well as gift bags that people can get as students they sign up. We're student run, we're peer reviewed. We've been telling people that they have a chance to write not only news stories covering events around the school, but they can write about things that they're passionate about, like movies, entertainment, politics, not just U.S. politics, but global politics. Anything really that's...
The 2016 Academic Video Awards may be canceled. This would be the first time since the award show started in 2004. Club members were left stranded since the departure of their sponsor earlier this year. Now, the fate of the awards lies solely on them. We had no idea that we were an active club. We're really lucky that we found out.
All right, to us as TV production students who live and breathe our projects, it's really upsetting to us if we don't get the AVAs, because that's where we get to showcase our work. It's where we put our stuff out there.
In order for the awards to take place, the club must reactivate itself.
It takes a lot of work for the AVAs.
This involves budget proposals, monthly meetings. It's not just a few dollars here and there. It's a couple hundred. And it takes a lot of money to make the AVA special, and that's what we want, to make the AVA special.
We really want to show appreciation to all the students for all of their hard work, and especially for 2016, we definitely plan on going above and beyond to show our support and thank them for everything. And what better way to thank them than by having fellow students, faculty, and the community show their support. Hopefully the clouds will dissipate and the stars will be seen. The AVAs are still scheduled for May 4th at 7 p.m. in the Forum. Thursday, November 19th, presidents and vice presidents were invited to a special dinner held by the Dean of Student Activities, Calvin McFadden.
I'm so glad to see each and every one of you. My name is Calvin McFadden. I serve as your Dean of Student Affairs. And we had this night reserved a few months ago, and we thought that it would be a wonderful opportunity just to have our student leader representatives just to come and get to know each other and to fellowship one with another and to have a meal, and just to let you know how much we are appreciative of your leadership.
Once settled in, club electives were placed through icebreaker scenarios, a chance for students to get to know each other. Upon completion of icebreaker activities, electives were then placed through leadership and skill building tests. These tests were to show true characteristics, desires, and required to be an effective leader. The focus? To ensure clubs are maximizing their potential, to grow, learn, and create new ways to push the levels of success. The evening ended with a brief entertainment from Five Guys, a campus a cappella group.
Everyone telling I keep away from a runaround so hey. I miss her lips and the smile on her face, the touch of her hair and that girl's warm embrace. So if you don't want to cry like I do, keep away from a runaround so yeah.
After the break, we take a look at how one mother trusted her instincts and a look at our director.
We'll see you after these messages. Doctors are here to help those who are injured or suffering. But what happens when a misdiagnosis is the difference between life and death? One mother stood up and refused to believe the doctor's diagnosis. Her instincts saved her son's life. Here is her story.
My name is Jennifer McGettigan. My son Ethan was diagnosed on October 22nd of 2013 with a cancerous brain tumor. Ethan was and is, again, the most energetic, happy little boy you could ever want to meet. All of a sudden, he started getting sick. He had flu-like symptoms the 3rd to 4th week of September. We took him to the hospital, to the emergency room, because he had vomited all day. And I knew that he was dehydrated. They did some blood tests. They told me that it was a stomach virus, gave us some antibiotics. I was made to feel like I was overreacting, and we were sent home. Next couple days, he got better, sent him back to school. The school would call randomly. Well, he threw up. Obviously, you have to come pick him up. He wasn't acting like himself. He would get better, he would get worse, and the symptoms were very sporadic. The last trip to the emergency room, they had checked him for appendicitis. They were going to do a spinal tap for the bacterial meningitis, which you're vaccinated for, but you can still get. The doctor that we ended up getting the third trip to the emergency room, this was on October 22nd, he had started to hold his head that morning off to the side. It's called torticollis, when you tip your head like this, and it made her even more worried. So when we got there, she said, you know, we are going to check him for Lyme disease and do a spinal tap, but I would really rather do a CAT scan first. I'll never forget when the doctor walked out of the room and looked at me and said, "Your son has a brain tumor, and it's huge." That was the second that my life changed forever. Not long after his diagnosis, we ended up starting a page on Facebook called Superhero Ethan. We started it at first so his friends and family and our supporters could follow it, and it ended up being a place where other families that were going through this could go for some kind of hope and some kind of support so we could go through it together. There are so many kids out there that are diagnosed with cancer every year, every month, and nobody knows what those families go through like another family that's going through it at the same time. My sister started a GoFundMe page for us shortly after everything had happened. The outpouring of support was incredible. We were able to raise a substantial lump sum to offset some of the cost of his medical bills. Realizing how common blood transfusions are and how Connecticut had a shortage on blood, this was our way of giving back. The donations that we received were enough to help over 200 people. Ethan was selected as the Make-A-Wish recipient for the state of Connecticut. Upon attending the Make-A-Wish walk, he was granted his wish up on stage by Spider-Man.
Ethan, Wish Kid Isabel is here with all of your friends out there. Where are Ethan's friends? And they want to tell you something very exciting. Everyone, Isabel is going to lead us in sharing some very exciting news with Ethan. Just follow Isabel's lead and watch for the signs out in the crowd. Isabel, go ahead, girl. Work your magic. Ethan is going to Disney World!
Children need you to stand up for them because they can't stand up for themselves. Be that person that won't take no for an answer and will stand up for them until you get to the bottom, whatever the problem is.
Take a look inside this car. The Jaguar CX-75 is a villain car used to chase down James Bond in the new film Spectre. CNN's Elena Petrov reports on how the car snagged a starring role in the movie.
Forget about sleek, sexy, and heroic. This car was designed to look menacing. This car is for a villain. Meet Jaguar CX-75, the car used to chase down James Bond in the film Spectre. Jaguar isn't normally known for supercars, but it convinced director Sam Mendes that this bad boy concept car was the best choice for racing around Rome. David Fairbairn was in charge of delivering vehicles to the set and kept them looking pristine.
These cars must have gotten really beat up when they were on the shoots. So tell me about how you made sure that they were in good condition for all of the different takes.
The 6 weeks that we were in Rome, it was 24/7. We had a nighttime shift supporting the cars during the chase scene, and then we had a daytime mechanics team that were repairing the cars when they came in, and all the production team went to bed. I'd love to say, yeah, we had so many cars come back damaged. Actually, we designed the vehicle to take those various action scenes. So we've got all 5 vehicles back, all in good condition. Just a little bit of a service has to be done on them, and to keep them and show them off to the public.
This particular model is called a Hero. It looks nice but doesn't move. It's just for close-up shots. The stunt cars do the action shots. The Jaguar CX-75 was used to generate buzz around the British brand, but you won't find it in a dealership.
This is the first time Jaguar has manufactured a car for a James Bond film that will not be going into regular production. Same thing goes for 007's Aston Martin.
Both companies say these will remain as concept cars only, but insist that other vehicles on the market will incorporate some of their design features. Alana Petrov, CNN Money, Oxfordshire, UK.
A curious deer photobombs a newborn baby's photo shoot. Photographer Megan Rione set the fall scene with baby Connor, when she says the deer walked out from the trees and surprised them. Rione says this is not the first time the deer has made an appearance. Rione has even named it, she says, Maggie. Maggie has been sneaking into her photos since the beginning of the summer.
It has been said that adults will change their career paths at least 5 times before finding their passion. From marine biologist to forensic science, it is safe to say this theory has held true for our director. Let's learn more about the woman behind the camera.
Did I always want to be in film? No, I actually wanted to be a SeaWorld trainer. Ever since I was a kid, I always went whale watching. I was just kind of obsessed. And when I was 19 years old, I went to SeaWorld, and I did get the opportunity to swim and train the whales. And I learned really quickly that it wasn't for me. I couldn't be a part of a program that deprived the animals of what it is that they needed. What do I do in between filming? I am a mom. That is what I do. I go home and I put on the mommy role. I have a 7-year-old son, and I love him to pieces, and he's my world. So that is what I do in between filming. If I had to give students advice entering the industry, it would be these 3 things. First, don't do it because of the glitz and the glam, the money, the fame, whatever it is. You do it because you love it. And that's the only reason why. And if you do it for any other reason, you will be highly disappointed. Number 2, I highly suggest anytime you're in school, on a job, you're networking, always, always, always be on your A game, because you never know who's watching you. It's going to be that one time that you're talking on your cell phone, or you're doing this, or you're doing that important person is going to be paying attention to you. And you don't want to blow it for a ridiculous reason. So always be on your A game. And the third and probably most important thing is that there is more than enough room for everybody to showcase their talent. So do it. If this is what you love, just go ahead. Be who you are. Showcase your work, your talent, your creativity, because the world deserves to see it. So just do what you're passionate about, and don't let anybody stop you or hold you back from what it is that you want to do.
Please join us next time for more NCC News. I'm Isabel Serpine.
And I'm Christopher Grisotomo. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Norwalk Community College honors our veterans by holding a special event. The inside story of the Voice. How the college added a little trick to your treat. These stories and more on the next newscast.